Okay, I decided I'm going to do something a little more challenging in X-Plane 12. X-Plane 12.0.8 to be exact. In the takeoff go-around simulations MU2 Bravo Marquis, Bravo 60 Marquis, I picked the OEM because I want to do this old school, old man way. I've manually set the weather. I'm not using active sky. I'm not using live weather from the net. And I've set the ceiling rather low. And what we're going to do is a cross-country flight from Palm Beach International to Grady County, Georgia, and attempt an NDB approach to Grady County, followed by a missed approach, an NDB hold, and then proceed on to Tallahassee and shoot one of the ILSs. Now the weather is predominantly blowing about 4 or 5 knots out of the east. It's pretty steady, not much turbulence. Might be some icing depending on altitude. I plan on cruising at 12,000 feet. And we're going to fly Vector Airways most of the way. Let's go ahead and look at the flight plan. Well, actually, it's not accurate, but we'll look at it anyway. Courtesy of Navigraph, what I'm going to do is intercept the 327 from Palm Beach International and fly up Vector 531. And I'm going to merge with 295 up here at Bahrain. That's about 94 DME. Don't know that Palm Beach International has that kind of range. Some VORs do go up to 100 nautical miles, but if not, I can dead reckon and or pick up Treasure VOR 117.3. The 295 is approximately 37 from that, and it bears out at 303, which I've noted on my flight plan. And then from there, I'm going to fly direct to Orlando VOR. That'll be 348.2. And then I will fly outbound at 309 to Ocala. And outbound from Ocala at 301 to Cross City. And that'll be at 3022. And then from there, 328 from Cross City. By that time, I'll be on Vector 35, 159. Vector 159, 295. 159, 295. And here's where 295 merges with actually 531. And on back up here to Cross City. 328 from to Greenville VOR, at which time I want to start my descent and get down around 4,000 feet, and from there proceed to Caddy NDB. That's on the 338, and that'll be 315 from Greenville. And from there, I'll shoot an approach. Let's go ahead and look at it. I don't want to do that. Go ahead and hide this. So we'll be flying this direction. We'll cross this, head out 317. We've got DME from there. Maintain a minimum safe altitude of 3,300 feet. And fly outbound. And we've got, let's see, 5 and 2. So that would be using that DME there. 28. About 34, and then past that point I do a left-hand turn, come back around, at which time I will descend from 33 to 1900, And at 1900, when I get just beyond that point there, I'm going to go ahead and dive and drive down to an altitude of 1,100 feet to 1,040, depending on which altimeter setting I use. Probably use Tallahassee. Well, actually, no. The altimeter is 2992 because this is manually entered. So we'll assume we're just going to use 2992 throughout the entire flight. So I'll go down to 1040 and fly straight until I hit 28 DME from Greenville, in which case I'll execute the missed approach. And of course, you'll know you're crossing the NDB because I'm going to be going right over it just about. Okay, and then I'll climb out to 1,500 and turn right and climb up to 3,300 or 3,000, and then do a holding pattern. Come out this way, come around like that, and climb back up to 4,000, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 feet and holding, and then proceed to Tallahassee VOR and decide what kind of approach I want to do from there. So that's the game plan. Fully topped off with fuel. So without further ado, I'll see you in the air, and I'll just kind of do this step by step from VOR to intersection. And I'm not going to do the entire flight in the video. I mean, I'll start and stop, and we'll just progress ahead till we get to Greenville. And then we'll attempt to do an approach where the minimums will be below the minimums. So it's going to be a mist. Hopefully, I've got my little output window up here for data on ice, because X-Plane is now simulating ice, and sometimes you can't see it, or you can look out the window and you'll see this get thick and blurry, and that might indicate that you have ice. But I don't believe ice is visible on Xp12 yet. Okay, I'll see you in the air. Okay, I've been cleared the runway heading to 4,000 feet. Gear up, flaps up, and instructed now to turn to heading of 300. Intercept the 327 from Palm Beach International. So we turn to heading 300. Alright, I gotta turn that down. Well, I'll fix that in a minute. Okay, report 4,000 feet. And we'll go ahead and intercept this on this heading. Jesus Christ. Go ahead and put our prop sync on. And now we've been cleared to 12,000. So So we'll dial this up. Hit indicated airspeed, add a little bit of power. Easy about 80. Lock on and go to V speed. And voila, we're on Vector 531. Altitude select. And identified a station. That would be dash dot dot dash dash dot 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 dot. Turn the volume down. Might want to leave that on. And our DME is 8.8. We are now VFR on top. No ice. Now over here, I've got Orlando tuned in at 112.0. Not in range yet. I'm looking for a DME from Orlando, a 37. That'd put me at a spot called Bravo Alpha Indiana Romeo November, Byron. Now that will merge, I believe, with Vector 295. Now the altimeter throughout this entire flight will be, this is all manual weather here. I'm not using live weather, so I can simulate these minimums. As for this guy, I think that's a little bit too extreme. Turbulent shaking. Not the volume, but the sound. Well, I can't really turn it down. I could shut it off. All right. Okay, S filed, flight level 12000 on the 351. 327 from Palm Beach International VOR. Okay, if you look on the left, you'll see this RMI needle start to fluctuate a little bit. That means we're getting in range of Orlando. 111.6. And we should be able to pick up the ID. Turn that off. Orlando dash 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 dot dash dot dot dash dot dot, and that is Orlando. Okay. By now we're talking to center, and center has this radar contact. We're going to cross over Orlando and an altitude of 12,000 feet puts us 2,000 feet above the control zone. And we'll be in communication with, probably right about now, contact Jacksonville Center. Started with Miami Center, and we're getting into Jacksonville area. So we'll change frequencies and contact Jacksonville Center, report whatever we are, such and such, at 11,000 to 12,000. And if they ask, maybe Vector 531. Speed's getting a little low, so I'll go ahead and add power. Bring that speed up. Try to stay about 160 or better. And we'll level off at 12,000. And we'll ease it back down. I like to run torque about just a little over 60. Okay, check pressurization. I already did that. Not to exceed 8,000. We're on our way to Grady. Now I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Okay, when I get about 70 nautical miles out, depending on the VOR, this one's probably good up to 100, but just for peace of mind, I'll go to heading mode, and I'll check over here. We got a good signal from Orlando. See just how far and reliable this thing is at 12,000 feet. Now on the RMI down here, it's pointing at Orlando. When that hits 348, rounds up to 350. When that crosses that little dot right there, are real close to that intersection. Get a little closer. Now that hits 94, I should be right on it. VOR, Xp12. About 20 to go. You can also, when you're going directly to or from a VOR, you can clock your ground speed by just time how far you go in 60 seconds. It gives you your mile per minute, and you multiply that times 60, and you got your ground speed. And when that hits 37, we'll be at the intersection. About 14 to go. Still holding up. Good signal. Usually the VORs that are used for both high and low navigation, 24,000 and below, 24,000 above, have a pretty good range. And heading's holding, CDI's dead center. And I'm about 10 miles, so I'm going to go ahead and switch. To Orlando. Fly right into it. See, both needles are just about on 348. Seven, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Pretty close. Get you within a mile, maybe 2. Sometimes the wind can drift you a little bit. And we'll hold that heading. I waited it gets right about in the center before I select nav. Right now. and we'll intercept it. Wait on well established on it and select heading. And we're going to fly 309 from to Ocala. (11 370). That's got to be out of orthos acting up again. And that'd be 309 too. And there it goes. Picking up Ocala. See if we can ID it. Ocala dash 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 dot dash dot 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 dash dot. Ocala. Now, depending on altitude, will determine about when I'll approach the cone of uncertainty. Think of it as a funnel. The higher you go, the bigger the circle. We're 12,000, a little over 2 miles high. You can see the needle starting to deflect. I'll go ahead and select a new course at 309. And watch the needle flip. It'll start wandering around. You'll see this deflecting. We're almost directly over it. See, it's straight line of distance, so it's at an angle, pointing down. That's what that distance is. Think of it as a sextant, and you're looking straight at the horizon, and you've got dip angle height above the horizon. Yeah, we should be just about on top of it now. There it goes. Flippy, flippy, flop. Okay, let's parallel that heading. Or parallel the course. Rounds off to 340 or 310. And then as we fly away from it, get some idea what kind of intercept I want to use here. I'll go 15. We'll fly right into it. And capture it. A little bit too far. Ocala doesn't have much, not Ocala, but yeah, Ocala, 112.20. Pretty reliable at about 40 nautical miles. Okay, let's go back to heading. capture that. Okay, at 41, oh, didn't get it. Time. Okay, at 40, let's see where we are at 60 seconds. I came up with 5.8. About 4.2. Comes to about 240 knots. Actually, it's more like 264 knots. Pretty good. Actually, I'm at 252. Yeah, that works out to about 252 knots, give or take. when in doubt, just use a calculator. I come up with 252. So that would be our approximate ground speed. And that will change because the wind's blowing in a constant direction. As we change our heading, we get a different headwind or tailwind component. We are 18.6 from Ocala, and I think we've seen enough of VOR. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead up towards Greenville and attempt an NDB. See how that goes. Okay, here's a quick example of ice and X-plane. I'm being forced down to an altitude of 6,000 feet because I'm picking up a significant amount of ice despite taking all measures to prevent it. So we got to get down. Rapidly. Piling up pretty fast. Still below freezing. Let's go ahead and parallel. We're getting pretty close. Ice is dissipating. All right, the ice is gone. And we're heading in a general direction towards Greenville. When it gets to about 40 to be more accurate. X-plane weather threw a little curveball at me. Ice. Okay, it's close enough I can intercept it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. I just thought I'd show that. Okay, now I'm within 20 from Greenville. I'm going to go ahead and descend down to 4,000 feet. I'm just now starting to pick up the signal from the ADF, channel 338. The ID is dot dash dot dash dot dash dot dash dash dot dash dot. So it's just starting to come in. I've got it on RMI 1. Come on, man. We'll fly around 170 knots. At 4,000. Dropped down to 3,300. Got a little ways to go. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. Okay, now I got to go to heading. I'll just maintain that. What it takes to keep that at 317. Right about there. About 315, between 315, I'm reading the bottom. I need to go a little bit more to the left. And about 38 from Greenville, it'll keep me within 10 miles. That's about 315. lap's about 5. That's about 135. I want 137. Pretty close. A little bit to the right. I don't know. There's minimum. .135, 130. It's just kind of bouncing back and forth. We use a minimum of 1100. Boy, it's really rough. Thunderstorm. See how bad I'm doing. Oh, not bad. Pretty close, pretty close. Actually, I started my descent a little bit early. Not so good. Well, I don't quite see it. And at 28, if I don't see it, I'm too far. A couple more miles. Guess I'll go ahead and turn on a taxi light. And I just stay a little over 135, 140 knots. I'm directly over the runway. I can just barely see it. All right, let's climb back up to about 3,000 feet. Now we'll go back up to 33. Gear up. Flaps 5. Vertical speed. We go to 1500 and turn right, and I think I'm going to go to Tallahassee. Clean it up. Turn right. Altitude select. And we'll leave it at 3,000. Basically just fly straight back to the NDB. We're pretty much right over it. Okay, fly out. What did I say it was? 317? Level off. Jeez, what the hell? Parallel at 317, that should be 137, 135. Let's see how bad I'm doing. Well, not too bad. A little bit inside. About 1 minute out. Guesstimate. And then I'll turn around. Let's slow down a little bit. About a 45-degree intercept. About right there. Something like that, maybe a little more or less. And I'm going to climb to 4,000 feet. VOR is 315 out. So I could use that as a cheat a little bit. But I'll wait till that needle hits 137. It's kind of hard to read it. And it's pretty close. 130, go back to 137. Right about there. And that's Inform Center. Well, we can't do it. It's too lousy. We'd like to go to Tallahassee. Get a vector direct to Tallahassee VOR. We already got that now. Now we're going over it. As soon as you see that needle swing like that, it's really hard to do NDB holding. All right, I'm going to head towards Tallahassee. It's about a heading of 210. Rough heading. Sit back, light a cigarette, think about what I got to do next. The old man slowway, Xp12. Check fuel. Plenty of gas. Oh, we all burned up the tip tank, so yeah, it's a good idea to find a place to land. Probably a tailwind, but I'd like to try 2.7. or 3.6. I don't know. All right, Tallahassee. Not that far away. All right, I got to center this. Direct. 19 to go. Oh, that's fine on approach. Guess we can get a radar vector on that. All right, go back to heading and steer a heading to 180, maintain 4,000. And let's dial in 1190 and a 274. The X-Plane's really giving me some shit here as far as weather goes. Come on, man. I'll go ahead and getting a signal from it, I guess. Looks like it, 19.2. Dot, 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 dash, dash, dot, dot, dash, dot, dot, dash, dash, dot, dash. IPLQ, Indiana Papa Lima, Quebec. 1190, 274. Altimeter stays at 2992. Let's see how low we can get this thing to go. The H is 200 feet. Set. Okay. Which is 258. Round it off to 260. All right. Now I'm in the hands of approach control. Now they're going to make me turn left, I'm sure. A little bit too close. Approach control says Tallahassee, turn left heading 150 and descend to 3,000. What is the minimum safe altitude out here? 3,300. right. 3,300 it is. 150. I wonder if the marker beacon lights work on this thing. I'm about to find that out. Middle and inner. These little lights up here. And I'm gonna poke along here at about 170. And a big radar screen. About this point here, they'd probably let me down to 2,000. At a heading of 180. Down about 175, I'd go flaps 5. And about a 30-degree intercept, that would put me 240. About there. Continue descent to 2,000. 150 knots, go flaps 20. Power up a little bit. All right, pressurization, just leave it. We're below 8,000. And approach. And capture. Gear down. Power up. Gear down, taxi light on, pressurization, put RAM on. Actually, you really don't have to mess with that because this thing's got a lot of power even with it on. Stay above 130. A level at 2, fly right into the glide slope. missed approach altitude will be 4,000 feet. They're about 8.4 out, glide just under the glide slope. Here it comes, here it comes. Hope it works. Check 3 green, flaps 20, prop full forward, sink off. Here's the glide slope, power down. Align the heading, 135, a little less. No, a little more. Actually, it's a little more accurate at 135, 140. There's the marker beacon. The outer. Doesn't make any noise, but it's flashing. Time. Try to maintain between 500 and 1,000 feet a minute. 130 knots just about does that, 135. It kind of tends to porpoise a little bit as you get closer. All I can see the ground. Where it starts to do some crazy stuff. Starts to porpoise. And I have the runway. Approach lights. And there's the missed approach altitude. $50, $40, $30, $20. Ease it down, ease it down, ease it down. Right there. And put it in beta. Don't touch the brakes, it's slippery. We made it! Oh, that was exciting. Find it when you kind of in and out of beta, when you're in a beta range, works better than brakes. All right, strobe off, transponder, standby. Now leave the taxi light on. Rotating beacon. Flaps up. Trim neutral. Oh, zigzag. So see folks, it can be fun to fly Xplane-12 with old school. A little bit more challenging. Especially when it comes to NDB and the wind's varying on you a lot. Wasn't much of a wind, but it was pushing me around a little bit. Thunderstorm didn't help either. But it is fun and challenging. Okay, flaps up. We don't need all this stuff here. Turn that off, off, on and on. Retracted. Trim. All right. We burn up all the gas in the outside tank. No, still got some. So if you want to practice instrument approaches in Xplane-12, just go to manually set weather, set the minimums down, throw a little rain in there. I didn't expect the ice and thunderstorms. That was a bit of a surprise. Only an Xplane. Definitely keep you on your toes. I'll probably see that runway as I was approaching it, but I just couldn't see it until I got right on top of it. At Grady. Now if I set the minimums to 1,000 feet and I started my descent maybe, well I did start early on that. But despite getting down to MDA, I still couldn't see it. Maybe I didn't. Don't make no mistake, it's pretty challenging. So yes, we will get ice at Xplane. And you better have this little gizmo going up here because otherwise you might not know and not be able to figure out why am I flying so poorly. It's because you got ice. Anti-ice is all fine and well, but it's limited. Let's just give you enough time to get out of it. So you don't stay any long-term duration in ice conditions. As soon as you encounter it, you want to get above it or below it. I tried climbing above it, but it was just way too thick. I didn't realize there were thunderstorms because I don't have radar. I couldn't know that. Couldn't go around it. Couldn't go over it. Normally you go around it. If there's a thunderstorm, no way. You're not getting over that. So I had no choice but when in doubt, go down. Get back into above freezing conditions. It's a real problem in areas where the freeze is right near the ground. You got freezing rain. Sometimes you luck out, you get an inversion where you can go up and get into slightly warmer temperatures. But you definitely got to get out of the cloud. Something you should know before you get to where you're going. If those conditions exist, you might want to think twice about it. I know I would. Now big jets don't have that much trouble with ice because they're going so darn fast. They get a little bit of that TAT. Works in their favor, just coming in at 250 knots, and they just going to be in it long enough to get on the approach and land. but small general aviation aircraft aren't as lucky. Ice and thunderstorms are very dangerous. Must avoid them. Yeah, I'll park over here. Yeah, over here. Close enough. I don't know why I really like flying this thing. Okay, everything off. Wonderful day. Okay, so I hope you learned something about Xp12, VOR navigation, NDB, ILS, no GPS or RNAV. Well, actually, it is a form of RNAV. It's just a different form of RNAV. RNAV, area navigation, or we used to call radio navigation. In this case, we depended totally on radio. Ground radar, if we want to consider the AVI tab and the blip on the screen, to assist in lining us up and putting us on the right heading for the localizer intercept at Tallahassee. I thought it was pretty cool. And I really like this, what is this, the OEM version? I can't remember what they call it. Yeah, OEM. Without the functional radar. Here's what I'd like to see is maybe a DME with ground speed. Put that in there, like on, what is that, was Just Flight. Who was it that had that? It was the Piper Turbo Arrow. And maybe different, a multi-function instead of a dual function, dual channel on these up here. I'd like to be able to hear the Morse code, ID, range, voice, or both. I'd like to be able to hear the marker beacons. I'd like to be able to ADF signals, IDs. What else? Make a long list here. I'm okay with the transponder, that's alright. Not okay without the radar. This could be better. Put something there, they got room for it. DME, radio so you can dial in a station and get a ground speed if you're going directly to or from it. Definitely got to work with the volumes on this, so I can only get these here, or auto. Everything else is fine. Got no other complaints there. Well, let's see, did I get everything on my wish list? Radar, DME, multi-channel, dual channel, and volume. And I think it's worth the price. But right now, that's a question mark. I do like flying it though. And yeah, sure, they always say they're going to upgrade, but when? Good question. Anyway, Happy New Year and thanks for watching. See ya on the next one. Bye-bye.